मैं शुरू करूं प्रभु जी। वंदे हम श्री गुरु श्री उत्पद कमलम श्री गुरु वैष्णवांच
जी प्रभु जी।
श्री रूपम सागर जातम सैगण रघुनाथम तम सजीवम साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादाम सैगण ललिता श्री विशाखान वितोष श्री कृष्ण लीला कथने सुदक्षम औदार्य माधुर्य गुणश्चयुक्तम परम वरेण्यं पुरुषं महन्तं नारायणं तं त्वां शिरसा नमामि। सर्वप्रथम मैं अपने गुरुपाद पदम परम रहतम इतर लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज जी के श्री चरण कमलों में अनंत कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम ज्ञापन करता हूँ। तत्पश्चात श्री गुरु परंपरा और त्रिदंडीपाद गणों के श्री चरणों में मेरा अनंत कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम। मेरे शिक्षा गुरु श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत वन महाराज जिनकी मेरे ऊपर अहेतु की कृपा है, उनके श्री चरण कमलों में मेरे बार बार प्रणाम करता हूँ। और जिन वैष्णव विशेष की मेरे ऊपर, मेरे परिवार के ऊपर, यानी कि श्री रागलेखा दीदी की अहेतु की कृपा और उनके अथक प्रयत्नों ने जो हमारे घर में गुरु वैष्णव की जो क्या बोल सकते हैं उसको एंट्री करवाई है, उसके लिए उनके श्री चरण कमलों में मैं बार बार प्रणाम करता हूँ। और सभी वैष्णव जनों के चरणों में मेरा यथा योग्य दंडवत प्रणाम।
So because of Shyam Prabhu, I got the opportunity to speak a few words. I told you I don't know how to speak. And as concerning Gurudev, I met Gurudev because of Ragalekha Didi. I don't really remember that experience. So Tribhanga Lalit Krishna has been attracting me always. With a school trip I went to Shimla and I saw a painting of him, the Tribhanga Lalit posture, and it really attracted me. And I don't know why. Sometimes I didn't think really that I would enter this Vaishnava world. I would get so much mercy from Guru. But as I have been saying, Ragalekha Didi is my Siksha Guru, and because of her, we entered this path. I don't have anything special to say. There are just a few things I'd like to share. Just like Sudevi was saying, Gurudev called her for seva. You know, once Gurudev was going for his morning walk, as you know, and when he was doing his morning walk, one day in the early morning, Gurudev came out for the walk, and Ramchandra Prabhu said, Gurudev, this Sudevi ji, she's very well educated. And Gurudev stopped walking. He said, okay, how educated are you? So when we went in front of Gurudev, so you see Pujapad Ban Maharaj, he is so close to us. We can laugh with him. We can speak very well with him. But with Guruji, when I went in front of him, I was afraid And then she said, no, Gurudev, nothing special. And then as she told, she did this and that, she knows Hindi, she doesn't know Bangla. So she told about her typing, and then Gurudev said, okay, come in the afternoon. And then what happened? I remember that day very well. It was a Saturday because I was working at the bank, and that day was my half-day work. So when I came home, she was very happy and she received me. And my daughter was saying, Papa, come quickly. Gurudev has called us. So when I came home from the office, and then I said, he called you, you go. So when I heard Gurudev called, so she was very happy, and quickly, he called us at 3 o'clock, so we went there quickly. And we sat there in the hall, we were waiting for Gurudev. And Gurudev called her, my daughter and my wife. And he did his things. And I was sitting there in the hall. And I was thinking one thing. I'm here, but Gurudev never calls me. He never thinks of me. Does he even know me? Everyone knows that Vaishnava, that Gurudev knows the heart of his disciple. So he knew what was in my heart. And when they were done, after that, Gurudev was looking out of his room and he called me with his finger. And then the doubts I had, you don't know me, all my doubts were gone. And we spoke a lot. So this is a very special quality which I experience. You know, sometimes you have a doubt and sometimes you have a question you want to ask Gurudev. And Gurudev is sitting a lot in his katha, and while he is sitting, he can give the answer to the questions in my heart. You know, I have a very bad background. I was working in a bank as a manager. It's not a big post, but I had ego. And then there's also a union of managers, and I was also engaged in that, and I had a really big ego. So the life I had before entering this path was filled with ego. So what did Gurudev do? How did he remove this ego, this false ego? I will tell you this. So if a clerk doesn't listen to the manager, you know, I had this false ego, and when someone doesn't listen to my instructions, I didn't feel happy. I really disliked this. So there was this bank employer. I told that person to do this, and then he didn't do. So I really felt bad about this. You know, since I met Gurudev, since I entered this path, I heard this shlok, the Trinatapi Sunichena, and I was trying to follow this. So this happened, and I didn't say anything. And why not? Because Gurudev said, you have to be more tolerant, otherwise you cannot make progress. So this kept happening. And then I thought, I will ask Gurudev about this. You know, if the employees don't listen to me, I will get in trouble if I tell my staff to do things and they don't do. So with this mood, I went to Alipur where Gurudev came in the Janakpuri Mutt, and I really didn't have enough courage. I was thinking this, but I didn't have the courage to go in front of him. How will I ask this? But by coincidence, I was there, and then Sridhar Maharaj, that time Rasanand Prabhu, I met him, and by his cooperation, I gave the questions. So what to do when my staff isn't listening to me? And then he said, he told me that katha about the snake. You know, you have to make your staff listen, otherwise you cannot work as a manager. So leave that Trinatapi Sunichina, that is for Vaishnavas. If the people at your bank don't listen, you have to do something. So how Guru Vaishnava, how they straighten you? You know, there are these little obstacles which are not important, but they have this this specialty they have. So maybe by the mercy of the Lord, I got some scars. And you know, as a banker, I was dealing with a lot of money, and there was corruption, and there is much opportunity for corruption. I didn't do this, but there were opportunities. I will give another example. So as a manager, you have some facilities. So you get some petrol from the bank, and you get your salary, and you have some duties, so to entertain the customers, and if there's some money left, and also if you have some petrol money left, then what to do? What should I say in front of Gurudev? But somewhere I had this feeling that this is mine. And I was thinking, am I doing this or is Gurudev doing this? Then through Sridhar Maharaj, I got an answer on these questions too. So I was asking these questions, not straight, but very indirectly. You know, sometimes I do the wrong things, but not on purpose, but they just happen. And then he said, okay, tell me, what wrong things do you do that you don't know? I had no answer then. And then I got such a mercy from Gurudev. You know what was my qualification? What was meant for me? So what I was eligible for, I only did that. So then I got Harinam from Gurudev. I started to listen his lectures that you should wear tilak, you should have the appearance of a Vaishnava. But it was too difficult because I felt like I'm coming from the material world. I'm a manager. How can I have a sikha? How can I put tilak on? But then, really much with great reluctance, I started to do this. And I also felt like, if Gurudev is saying, then this is also a lesson. That, the one that is looking at you, they will also get something positive from it. And I also experienced this once. I was working, and then a very old man, 75 years old, he was sitting there with his tie, and when I came home, he was coming after me. And then he asked, "Sir, can I come in?" I just stood up. Such an old person is calling me sir. And I said, "What can I do for you?" And he said, "No, nothing special. I just wanted to salute you." And I said, "Why? Why are you saying this?" And he said, "No, you're sitting on this position and you're having your tilak." And then immediately I felt the glories, the wonder of Gurudev. Like Gurudev is saying, how another person will experience your Vaishnava appearance. So, like how we can meet with Van Maharaji so frankly. In that time, it was not possible with our Guruji. He was showing his sickness pastime, and it was very difficult to access Gurudev. So the senior people will know this. And I could not really speak with him, but by hearing his kathas, I had his darshan, and then I had this emotion I cannot express in words. So Gurudev has this Vatsalya for his disciples, and that's so serious. He is looking after every disciple. It was in Kartik month, maybe Ekadasi day, when the Parikrama was there at Giriraj, and everyone was in the line for Gurudev Darshan, and I also stood in line. And before me, there was a Vaishnava. He was Bengali. He was very poor. I was seeing that from his clothes, but he had so much love for Gurudev. I felt this. He was standing in front of me, and he didn't have anything in his hands, like a phone or something. But when he came close to Gurudev, then he took out a coin, and he took Gurudev's hand and gave it in Gurudev's hand. And look at the glories of Gurudev. Gurudev took that 1 rupiah, he put it against his head and put it in his pocket. And we all know when the disciples do pranam, then Madhu Maharaj is sitting there and he passes it on. But as this devotee gave his donation, Gurudev put it in his pocket. And I didn't understand what was going on there. And that was the only coin he put in his pocket. Everything else was passed on to Madhu Maharaj. And then I felt that Gurudev has a very close relationship with that Vaishnava. I don't have much to share, Prabhuji. I don't even remember things very well. But the association I had with Gurudev is more by hearing his katha, hearing about experiences of other devotees. Just like we are hearing about him, and we try to make progress. I don't know at what stage I am, but when I hear about Gurudev, there's a Didi, what's her name? Srita Didi once told, Gurudev, he is na bhuto na bhavishya. So the experiences I have with Gurudev is making me realize that Gurudev is Gurudev. Prabhuji, is there something else? Haribo? So once you told me something about Param Gurudev. You went to Navadvip and there was a Didi, she was crying at Devanand Gauriya Math. And she told she's coming there for the first time with her mother. You know, Prabhuji, I heard so much glories about Gurudev. You know, that girl was from Muslim community, but she had so much confidence in Vaishnavas, in Gurudev. So we went to Navadvip Parikrama, and somehow she came there with her mother. Our mother didn't want to come, but I really asked her so often, you know, okay, Muslim is our dharam, but please come and have darshan of Gurudev. So somehow her mother agreed and she came there. And two things happened that day. One was when I was going towards Devanand Gauriya Math, I knew her, so as soon as she saw me, she started to cry. And she was telling me about this. So that day was Nirday Ghat Parikrama, and we come back very early. So she told her mother, today there is time. let's go to Yogpit today. And she went to Yogpit. And when she had to cross Ganga, she took a small boat. You have these big boats, but in the afternoon she had to cross, and then she took a small boat. And there were a few locals, the boatman, and the mother and daughter. And in the middle of Ganga, their boat capsized. And the boatsman, he knows how to swim. And some local people also. But that mother and daughter, they started to drown. And they were thinking, they were telling me this, that this had happened. But somehow they came out. I helped my mother helped me. And I was praying to Gurudev, please, I came here trusting on you. We are Muslim, and my mother is here with me. If something happens to us, we will get big trouble in our society. And she's saying, she's crying, and she's telling me this. And then she continues, what happened? I helped my mother, and my mother helped me. And we were struggling to survive. And then what happened? One boatsman comes from the side, the shore, and we are looking that a child is taking us and putting us in the boat. And then they came back to the shore. And when they came back to consciousness, and I asked, where is the child that saved me and my mother? And the boatsman said, there was no child. And she was so much crying and telling me this. And she said, Gurudev has given us so much mercy. And he said to Krishna, go and save them. And she was saying this and she was crying. And then she continued. And her mother was crying. She didn't speak Hindi. And then they sat in front of Gurudev Bhajan Kutir. She wasn't ready to say Harinam, and now she was crying in front of Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir. It was time for Gurudev to rest. And not until Gurudev's door opened, she was sitting there and crying. And she was saying, I will only go from here when I have Harinam. And then Gurudev came, he gave her Harinam. And then, well, I told you before that Gurudev knows what's in your heart. So some people from Delhi, some bhaktas from Delhi, they gave me some things to give to Gurudev. I had this feeling that Gurudev, I had this thought that Gurudev will give his appreciation to me. And I was really thinking like, oh, how can I meet Gurudev? It's such a crowded parikrama. And I was going from my room. I was going towards Gurudev and I was thinking, how will I be able to give this to Gurudev? Then I met Sanjay Prabhu. I said, Prabhuji, like this, I don't know. How will I go alone? He said, just run and go. And I was really running fast. And I went to Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir. And I was there. So there was no room there at that time. There was a chair where Gurudev was sitting, and I went there, and Gurudev was speaking with me so much. These are very nice memories when I think of Gurudev. So there was one thing more. You shared with me once Gurudev was in his sickness pastime, and you said there was a Russian Didi. She was a doctor. Yes. She was a Reiki doctor. She was Indian originally, but she was settled in Russia. So we went for darshan of Gurudev, and we thought maybe we will not be able to get darshan because of his health. And then she said, I'm a doctor in Reiki. And then she told what happened to her experience. When I went for doing Reiki, I was thinking, how can I do my diagnostics on Gurudev? So there is a line of Devi Devtas to meet with Gurudev. And look at this fortune of the Didi. She had darshan. So when Gurudev was showing his sickness pastimes, then she's telling there is this line of Devi Devtas to have darshan of Gurudev. And she had this darshan. She was telling me. And then Pujapad Band Maharaj, about him. The first time I met him, it was in the Math of Faridabad. But all the ceremonies Pujapad Band Maharaj was doing, and we went there from Delhi. And after all the rituals, Band Maharaj went to someone's house to take rest. And there was a Prabhu doing seva. And I also wanted to go there, have his darshan. So that was the first time I met him. So now and then we met. And after the Aprakat Leela of Gurudev, so I was feeling what to do, where to go. And then Shyam Prabhu knows very well we didn't want to come, but he kept asking, giving us seva. And then after that, we saw his sincerity. And then we really saw Gurudev in him. And also in the past days, one day I was hearing from Gurudev when Maharaj was in the Mathura Mad, how he was doing seva, in what state he was doing his seva. And when I heard this about him, how to say, I felt such a mood. Like sometimes I feel Like you see Siksha Guru, and it's really like he's your Diksha Guru. That feeling I had.
जैसे लगता है अब कभी कभी लगता है कि जो है ना नहीं अब गुरुदेव जो है ना हमारे साक्षात वैसे भी शिक्षा गुरु जो है ना दीक्षा गुरु की जैसे बताया था इन्होंने भी करते हैं पुष्टि करते हैं उनके.
So he is never tired. He is just continuing with his preaching, and he's really fulfilling the desire of his Gurudev. You know, the desire of Gurudev to continue preaching and parikrama. And Bud Maharaj, he is really fulfilling with full enthusiasm this desire of his Gurudev. Continuously, day and night. So, Prabhuji, I don't really remember anything else. He spoke so nicely about the Leelas of Param Gurudev. So there are so many wonderful Leelas of the Acharyas, and we ordinary conditioned souls, we really cannot understand them. I really like you know, this mercy of Vaishnavas like Raglika Didi. Her special mercy is on us. I really cannot repay that, because today, not only in the beginning, but also today, she is doing so much efforts for us on the phone, in real life, do like this, do like that. And like she told, my daughter got her Harinam first, and one day Raglika Didi, she was really making us understand that today Gurudev will come in the mud and you have to take Harinam. And she gave 9 o'clock as a time, but we were not prepared mentally. And we went to the mud with my daughter, and it was 9 o'clock. And then we said, Didi, when will we get Harinam? So we were really trying to get out of it, because we were so much in another mood. So we were trying to get away from there. And then I first started, you know, I have the key of the bank, I have to be there in time, I cannot stay here too long. But that was just an excuse. And I went away. And when I looked behind me, my wife was also saying, no, I have something important to do. And then she said, like, to my daughter, also come. And she said, no, I will stay here, you go. And Raglika Didi was standing there with her. And she had the Nishtha. She got Harinam. So you can see by this how much, what word should I use? You know, we are getting this rain of mercy from Gurudev and we are running away from it. So Didi kept trying, and then we got Harinam, and then Didi was continuing, do Kirtan. And then I said, Didi, I have this Harinam and now I have to stay away from onion and garlic, and I was going to the market. I got some vegetables, and then Didi came and she said, Bhaiya, give me your onion garlic and I will give this to Gurudev. I don't know what mercy this was, and I gave it to her, and after that no onion garlic came in our house. And Didi has so much mercy for us. Okay, I have spoken long enough now.
और उस दिन के बाद फिर घर में कोई लहसुन प्याज का किसी भी तरह का व्यवहार नहीं हुआ। ऐसे दीदी की भी हमारे पर बहुत 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 कृपा है। मैंने आपका बहुत टाइम ले लिया प्रभु जी, क्योंकि दिन के वक्ता भी हैं।
So my Dandavat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas.
विराम देता हूँ। आप सब विशेषकर श्याम प्रभु के चरणों में मेरा दंडवत प्रणाम, विशेष दंडवत प्रणाम। सब वैष्णवों को मेरा दंडवत प्रणाम।